All right, what is up, everybody? It's the moment you've all been waiting for, the moment where we take your teams and we put them where they don't belong. This is the podcast episode, the power rankings behind spawn doors, in preparation for the beginning of tomorrow's tournament. You all know why we're here, you all know what it's all about, but you don't know who we are, some of us. It's not actually true, you know all of us pretty much, but I'm going to do some introductions here. My name, of course, is Sun Phoenix. What you can also see is that many of us, not all of us, many of us are dressed to the nines in our Sunday finest. We really put in a lot of effort. We're also repping our most recent teams for the most part. So that's a lot of fun. My name, of course, is Sun Phoenix. You know me, I cast, I used to play for Leyden, etc., etc., etc. Blur, why don't you tell us who you are?
I'm Blur. I coach half the community, and I used to play for GG.
Mm-hmm. Defect?
I'm Defect.
Oh god, he actually did it. The madman. Peach?
My name's Peach today. I've been in and around doing production here in places. I would be repping my old team, except we don't have a team shirt, so you know.
Old team doesn't have a shirt. New team
bad,
doesn't have a shirt. No shirts anywhere.
Not yet. Okay.
You should be shirtless, actually, but that's against TOS, so we'll hold off on that for now.
Is that against TOS?
I think it is.
Okay.
Anyways, let's not take any risks. But our newest member, a new face, you guys will get to know a lot better over the coming weekends. It's Mr. Miru. Welcome.
Hey. I mean, I used to play for OG Thunderclap with Big Daddy Defect, who I don't know why he didn't want to associate himself with him, but you know.
I'm wearing my Thunderclap shirt, boys.
True.
His reputation precedes him, clearly.
But
it's because I never really played. I lost off.
That is true.
That's true. I did kind of take your position, didn't I?
Yeah.
I feel kind of bad right now, actually.
It feels bad.
Yeah. All right, boys. Let's jump straight into this. Blur is going to be handling the actual mechanics of running the power ranking. So if it all looks scuffed and goes wrong, you can blame him. I'll just be talking you boys through it. I tell you what, I'm going to start us off here with a controversial one, right? Number 1, ATK.
Oh, I don't know why you would ever think that one.
So let's actually spice this up a little bit. Why don't we talk about the concept of Beastie Boys having practice?
No, dude.
No.
No ways. Let's put ATK at the top. We'll go back to the bottom and work our way up back to ATK, and then we can discuss if there are any contenders to the throne. How does that
So we're
sound?
talking about the worst team in the league now.
I'll tell you who it is. It's Reace Legion. Statistically,
I mean, obviously, but if we were just going off statistics, there would be no point to a podcast. It would just be the Sun reading the stats sheet.
Yeah, we just.
you just put us on blast like that, right?
Shocking, man.
But I think, make an argument, Blur, for something else.
Okay,
Someone
so Reace, I'd rather speak to Reace's strength first, because Reace came into the second leg of the league like literally 2 days before. Like they literally formed their team 2 days before, and obviously you come into a league like that, you're just gonna get donkeyed. Like you're just gonna get rolled because you don't actually know. Like you don't have the level anymore. You don't have the level. You don't have the kind of format of playing that. So I'd say I'm really worried for overtime, having lost 3 really valuable players. I think recruiting, they've recruited quite well. They've picked up Warbuff, who is an international, and they've picked up Cryo Phoenix from Valiant. But I would be worried about them because they did lose 3. Like they lost Bubbles, who was their main off tank. They lost Stevie, who was a regular DPS. They lost Ugly Boy Adam, who was regular DPS. You know, so replacing that many players like right before finals is quite dangerous in my opinion.
That is true.
And I'm like, you know, I'd say that, you know, you look at the teams above them, and the level above Reace wasn't that high. We cast them versus Valiant. It's very close. Valiant's no longer exists, so.
Sure. I guess technically in 17th spot we should put Valiant because.
Oh yeah, because we have 17 spots.
There's no chance that there will be any of the teams, considering they're no longer part of the tournament.
We can tier that as well. We can make it a dead tier. Dead.
Good idea.
Disbanded. Look, I think instead of listing Reace bad, because who are the contenders? Who are they sizing up against to be?
Well, we
not-
mentioned overtime already, and I think there's merit to that. Overtime, as you mentioned, have lost, and their performance in stage 2 wasn't incredible, and then they lost 3 of their players, which doesn't make you better usually, unless you get serious upgrades, and they got grades, side grades at best. I think we don't know enough about people like Warbuff, etc., to be able to say, hey, this is a definite improvement. A and B, bringing in new players always there's a period of adjustment that needs to take place, and if we assume they changed at the earliest opportunity, which would have been the end of stage 2, that's still only like 3 weeks to break in a new roster. So I think there's a pretty good argument to be had there. I think, is there anyone else other than Overtime and Reace that you think could take that slot?
I don't know. I think Cubs is a bit too strong with their current roster, and they only lost 1 player. I think Kitsune are really mechanically strong, but they're messy.
Mm-hmm.
See.
I don't know. I don't think anyone else is really like. I think everyone else is built rather than in a potential spot of decline, and I think that's quite an important.
Okay. Also, full disclaimer: if you don't like where we placed you, prove us wrong tomorrow.
Also, roast us in chat. Roast us in chat.
Roast us in chat.
Also, roast us.
We 100% guarantee our list is wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can promise you that.
But if you don't
Especially
agree,
with-
prove us
with-
wrong.
Especially with players flying around across rosters. I mean, there's always the space for just miracles to happen, or maybe not so much miracles, but things can happen.
Mm-hmm.
And
Not good things. Not good things.
I genuinely think like the way like the SA scene is like it's so imbalanced in so many ways, and I
100%.
like the people on top, but they're gonna smoke the little kiddies. They're gonna roll. It's gonna
I don't think anybody's arguing for the teams we're looking at now to beat 80k
No,
or
I mean-
Beastie Boys.
Yeah, exactly. But I just mean I think there can be some real big dynamic shifts, but I don't think they're gonna be some real, ones
Super
where everyone will be
upsets.
taken by surprise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you're
But I think
definitely right about
if
that.
there's a level where there's going to be surprises, it'll be this level where teams are still really
for
new.
sure. For sure.
I agree and disagree. I think it's going to be closer to the middle where the real surprises are going to come out. But let's make a decision then. Reace Overtime. It's probably a game of inches based on the information we have. But who do we think, if these two teams face each other, who would come out on top?
I'm gonna have to give it to Overtime. I don't think Reace having to rebuild, having that lack of experience, having lost possibly their best player.
Reace haven't lost anyone.
You mean overtime?
Overtime. I apologize, but it still stands. Reace, you have a lot to prove. You losing for a whole leg doesn't give you that much experience. Like, there's not much you can learn from being spawn camped by bigger teams. So yeah, I prove me wrong. I say 16.
Okay. Leo, what are your thoughts?
I think fair. Like, I'd say it's a tough one. It's a tough position to be in as someone like, you're coming in and people don't really know you. You don't really have a guaranteed kind of like, we're going to be able to do this. So it's tough for them. They're coming through. It's a level they haven't really played at very much.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd say 16th would be fair.
For Reace, sorry.
For Reace. So, but I think there's definitely scope for improvement. I think Overtime will probably be the one that they're considering, like, they're considering their chances against. I'd say they'd probably look at taking shots at Risen and Cubs, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. I don't disagree with that. So I think we're pretty much decided on that. Then, Peach, you have anything to add, Miro?
I think I pretty much agree with all of you guys. I feel like Overtime is definitely going to still stand up at top just because they've had a little bit of prior experience. Not to say that it could still be quite a good show. And I don't know. I can't remember. I don't think it's getting casted, but I think it might be a game worth watching. Two teams might be on a maybe similar power level, but I do think that Overtime's definitely got a little.
Yeah, I think the experience their players bring as well will contribute greatly to that. So we'll put Overtime in that 15th slot then. Now the next bracket I think is a lot more up in the air for me. That kind of layer of Calypso, Cubs, Kitsune. I think maybe Kitsune is a cut below them. Who do you guys think kind of what do you think the next tier of teams is? Let's put it that way.
What do we want to call this tier first? The overtime Reace tier.
It's not a good way to put it. That's flattering, unfortunately.
I mean, team prove me wrong.
Prove us wrong. The prove us wrong tier.
Yeah.
Prove us wrong, yeah.
You could
Okay, I dig
phrase
it. I
it
dig
something to prove tier, I suppose.
Yeah.
No,
Nothing-
just prove us wrong is fine. I think challenging them.
Yeah. Tier nothing to lose.
That's not a
Nothing
bad
to
way
lose.
put it. Positive spin, yeah. Kind of.
Nothing to lose. Wow, I'm not sure that's the nicest way to phrase it, but you know what? It's out there. It's written.
You know what? Just flip it on and say it. Everything's a gain.
Yeah. Only.
It's not prove VS wrong, by the way. It's just a bad font.
Trash. We just waited to pick the worst font we could find. Slap.
Oh my gosh. And
It's
there's
a
about,
whiteboard.
5
We're
minutes of me
writing on a
freaking out.
whiteboard.
Yeah, second or third worst font, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're looking at 14th place now. I think it gets confusing here because these teams have all kind of traded games with each other. But we're probably looking at Calypso, Kitsune. Do you think Kitsune fits in comfortably here, or do you think Kitsune can beat teams like Calypso, etc.? Let me look
I
at
don't
your
think they
recent
fit
results
in
quickly.
the nothing to lose brackets because they have had some really surprising results. I think they pretty conclusively beat Overtime, Reace, and Valiance last.
Who's this?
Kitsune?
Kitsune. So I think they probably the bottom. Like if we're expecting a power ranking for them, I'd say we probably expect them at the bottom of the next tier, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Okay. How big do we want this tier? I was thinking like 4 teams would fit in here.
Yeah.
3 or 4, I think.
Yeah, you don't want more.
Um,
It's gonna just saturate the top.
Yeah. But we don't have to have the number of tiers we have. We can make more tiers.
Oh yeah, we have.
Yeah, but like we're not limited by any means.
Yeah, we could have tiers filled with one team. Every tier is a new team.
Yeah. Every tier.
So we're looking. I think Kitsune for me is the bottom of the next kind of number of teams, but definitely a tier above Overtime and Reace.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah.
They haven't made any changes to the roster. They're literally the only team in the country we've never seen play, with some exceptions of teams that had disbanded before we could.
Yeah.
So we don't have any good eyes on them. But the
think-
results last year were pretty good, last season.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to center this flipping column. It's not centered, and I'm.
Sheets,
Oh my
sheets,
Just zoom out. Just zoom out one tick, brother.
Sheets does it by columns. It doesn't let you go in between columns when you view things. Anyways,
Yeah,
so Kitsune next there. Calypso after that, maybe? Anybody else?
Yeah, look, I think let's all discuss these as a batch. I think the batch here
Yeah.
is Risen, Cubs, Kitsune, and Calypso.
Yeah.
As a batch, and we'll put those 4 in the tier. Can we maybe make it 4-space tier and then put in tier Challenger Division for life?
I don't know. I feel like Calypso's kind of like transcending that kind of tag, that Challenger Division for life tag. Like,
I mean-
they did get to the playoff spot in the last leg, you know, and they've
Not
held on to all their
wrong.
players.
You're
Right.
absolutely not wrong.
Sure, he's not wrong, but also they kind of just gotta prove it.
Yeah, look,
Coming up now,
no, it's not right either. Like,
Yeah, like
Oh,
because
it's cool,
they're
dog.
there now. Because you're there
Yeah.
right now, so you know, bring it to us, dog. Show us what you got. Like with the big guy and the big planet and the head in the sky, you know, asking them to show us what they got. Show us, you know.
show me what you got.
Ready.
I actually like this squad of players.
Of
Looking
team.
at them now.
like Calypso?
BK7, Pale Native, Drostar, Hemisphere, Domo, Apricornicus. They added Void, which I think Blur speaks quite highly of.
Look, okay.
Or he's a hit scan player, and I think that's something they've really struggled with. Like when Hemisphere isn't quite feeling the ashes, that they don't have a hit scan to fall on.
Okay.
Finding hit scan at that like middle of the table Challenger Division is quite hard. I think that's what separates the top Challenger Div versus the mainstays in Challenger Div is to
Yeah.
get hit scan.
And you look at a team like Leiden who found a player like Kiri, and that kind of bumped them up.
Yeah, and that instantly bumped
Yeah.
them in the
I
tier.
mean, same with when we had Rexu as well. It was just like really
Yeah,
strong hit scan.
yeah, true.
Now he's playing like high tier Apex.
Yeah, he moved to Apex. He said he was
Yeah.
moving to CSGO, and then all of a sudden he was playing.
It was Apex. instead,
Apex. And our Apex is a dead meme, so.
Oh, dear.
Okay,
Lots
that's
of
who you
haters
ask,
saying that.
apparently.
Okay, but
Yeah.
if we start from the bottom, because this is going to be easier to do if we
Yeah.
organize it from the bottom, because it's-
Katsune, Risen, Cubs.
Calypso.
risen below Cubs.
I don't know, dog. I don't know. Look, okay. Remember,
okay,
if
well,
we're talking about scrims, you can't link comps or anything, but I think you can give an idea of results, right? Because you guys have all been scrimming, and I've been watching a few scrims, and Defect and Ryu have as well.
Yep.
So we have some ideas.
Listen,
And Cubs have not looked incredible to me, if I can
Minitech,
put it in
guys.
vague
Minitech is
terms. Minitech always looks
Yeah.
good.
Listen, nah. Y'all need to settle down with this Cubs talk. You watch them. I watched them, and when they weren't playing, comps
Hey,
that were
no,
so
you
like.
can't. Okay.
No, but I mean, like when they were it's not leaks, but when they just
Okay,
weren't playing
cool.
things that were just highly like, sort
Size.
of like wrapped around each other, where they were like had to be stuck like glue to play. Then they sort of fell apart because everyone's like too worried about each other. But when they played their own thing and played to their strengths, they played really well. And Miniteg looked like a beast.
If they can play a comp where they play to the strengths of Miniteg, they can win. But
Bro, that's exactly what I said. I was like, listen.
yes.
I was like, dude, I told him, I was like, yo, y'all gotta look at this like, what is it? Like Dallas Fuel with the K, RIP, rest my man, like long time. But, I said, like, you just gotta play around him. And if you play around him, you win because the man is
Because he's
cracked.
good.
Like,
Yeah, he's really good.
cracked out of his
Video
mind.
game. No, he's good at the video game.
Just feed him
But I
and then we
think-
just go.
Yeah, we have to acknowledge they did just lose their main tank. They lost Zerv to who now went and joined TSG as a sub.
Yeah.
And Zerv is an all over the place kind of player, but he is experienced and he is aggressive. And those
And
are
you
two
saw-
things you
you
don't
saw
get
the
from a lot of
difference-
main tanks at that.
Yeah, you saw the difference adding him to the roster made to their results. It actually was crazy. I mean,
Yeah.
Minitech I think came in as well at the same time, so that was a big boost. But they were in that same tier.
Yeah,
with-
more or less the same time.
Yeah. At least they started the first stage with both of them, the second stage with both of them.
Yeah.
And they were in that same tier with Reace in overtime, and suddenly they were a contender for the pointy end of Challenger Division.
Yeah,
So-
it was only in the last two games that they kind of lost that qualification for.
Yeah. And I think what we've seen of Snapper Miru hasn't looked incredible. I think we've been quite critical of him in the matches we cast. So
Yeah. I think.
Just gonna put the man on fire, like.
you always have to
we are
give the
from-
same disclaimer with main tanks. You can never tell
Yeah.
if it's the main tank or the
Yeah.
team around him.
Look, a main
Yeah.
tank will look good if they're playing on a good team, and they'll look
Yeah.
bad if they're playing on a bad team.
I agree and disagree. I think it's yeah.
Good-
I think
good-
it's
good
true but it's true to a certain degree. Like, I mean, if you watch like the certain teams they play in, like, there's a difference between if you watch, Shanghai Dragons to when you're watching, Dallas Fuel when they pop off. Like, it doesn't make Gamsu look good that when they had Decay, they like played like a top tier team.
Yeah.
Whereas Fearless literally solo carries team fights by just existing and bubbling down particular points and people.
But
And-
okay, but
and-
counterpoint, Ben Best looked. poo-poo.
Benbis is total trash still. He's still garbage compared to.
He
He's only
looks
gotten
good.
better. He got better during the Orisa meta, and now Orisa is dead, dog.
He
now
looked
what?
really good standing in front of Ixie and Sparkle.
Yeah,
Stands in front of Xe and Sparkle, looks good. Huh.
yeah.
And he does look good. Let's be very honest.
Anyway, we are now veering towards players that are not competing at the top tier of South African Overwatch.
I think Ben is top tier of South African Overwatch. Just saying.
So what were we just talking about before we
So
got sidetracked?
it's Risen and it's Risen
Yeah,
versus
Risen.
Cubs, and I think Risen are a much more complete team in my opinion.
Okay,
Like
I'll concede
yeah.
this one. Go Cubs, go Risen.
Yeah, because I think the thing with Risen is we're looking at Risen and we're looking at a team that's very much, they've stayed as a consistent roster. There's not a lot of mobility in that roster in terms of, who's shifting, who's come in, who's going out. They performed quite well as a new team because they also formed very closely before the second leg started. And they play a very good brand of Overwatch. They play a good aggressive brand of Overwatch. They make lots of space, and the DPS are really good at capitalizing on that, which is something it shows that they have a good interaction with one another and a good interaction with the macro of the. So
Yeah.
I think that places them in a little bit of an advantage over Cubs.
I'm really hot on this Risen squad. From when I watched that game against you guys, Layden, I thought they looked really strong. And they did some cool creative stuff that a lot of teams aren't trying, but they also didn't try and cheese their way through every situation as well, which is a mistake you see these kind of mid-level teams make. So I'm impressed. I think Sargeras is a carry player in his own right, so they've got some power in the DPS. I think Bubbles is a pretty good main tank, and I think he brings a lot to the team from what I've seen.
Bubbles is a good main tank. He's a good main tank, but he has some moments.
Yeah, I mean everyone has moments. Everyone has moments.
I think he has more
has-
moments than most people.
He has his Pretz moment.
His Fritz moments.
Press moment.
His heat off the map, or midway through the back line, or shatter when he's 1v6.
HP. Yeah.
And 1 HP, fire strike when his healer's telling him to stabilize. I'm putting Pretz on blast because I coach this man every week, but you know.
Yo, the man is in chat, man. Oh my.
He's in chat, he's hearing this, he knows what's going on.
Also, the thing is though, a tiny bit of play and a little bit more like awareness, and he can become like a really solid aggressive main tank.
Yeah.
And I think it's an experience thing. I think it's, he's come into this league, he's memed his way across Challenger Division, he's, put some people in the ground, and he's in a position now where there's only scale for growth. And I think that's kind of a defining factor of the ADG Risen squad, is that there's just so much potential
There's-
growth there. They're
there's-
all young, and they already perform well.
Yeah. It's about to say the word potential, but I don't want to overuse it when we get.
No, that's the word. Whenever I think of Risen, that's the word I think.
Yeah, that is.
I think they're so experienced as well.
Cool. Hoy them there, and then I think tier break. Put me a tier break here, my brother.
Are we tier breaking before Calypso?
Yes, I want to put Calypso.
What?
Yeah, just break it. Yes, do it. Put in your tier Challenger Div mainstay.
Actual what face, man.
Listen, it's part of the plan. Trust.
Okay,
part of
I
the
trust the
plan.
process.
Okay.
I trust the
So-
process.
Okay.
Boston
Trust-
Uprising. Trust the
the
process.
process.
Okay.
Trust the process.
Trust the process.
Okay, so what are we calling the Risen Cubs Kitsune tier then?
Challenger Div mainstay.
Challenger Hardstuck.
Yeah, that one.
Okay.
Okay, that's fair. That is fair, though.
God.
That is fair.
Yeah.
Might be
The
a
next up is Calypso.
Yes.
Um,
I was wrong about Calypso. I looked at the
was
roster and I
wrong.
was like, I was thinking of a different team, clearly. Because looking at the players, I was like, oh, wait. This team is
Okay,
actually...
Can we put Calypso here and then put another tier in and just make it Challenger Div final boss?
Too many tears, man.
What the hell?
No, okay. Okay, so Calypso, what is Calypso then? What is Calypso if they're not a Challenger Hardstuck?
They're the final boss. They're the gatekeepers of Prem.
Oh,
The
there you go. So it's
gatekeepers.
gatekeepers.
No, I mean,
Prem gatekeepers.
Odyssey is the gatekeepers of Prem. I mean,
Elite Division gatekeeping.
yeah.
There we go.
Like,
Yeah, they-
by
yeah.
definition, the fact that they've gatekept it twice. 100% of the stages have been gatekept by Odyssey.
That's fair. Actually, that's fair.
I
Yeah,
like that. I'll put that there.
yeah.
Okay,
I
so
think-
in that case, would we not then have them alongside alongside the rest of the Challenge Division teams, the ones that really, they've looked good, they've looked strong, but they haven't looked like they can break it down. I mean, at the beginning of this year, we saw them like playing very much on the same level as Overtime, and I'd say very much we're expecting them to play very close to the level of ADG Risen now. Would you not agree?
Yeah, okay, sure. Hoy them in. Make this one.
Just trying to see who
We
they
trusted
are.
the process, the fact. We trusted the process.
The process working. It's just the process working.
This is Calypso, the High Masters / low GM of Challenger Division. Risen top 3 team in 8 years.
Oh, man.
Oh no.
Yeah, I'll bet money on that.
Statistically, Calypso have beaten everyone except Layden and Overclocked in Challenger. So
in Challenger.
Which I think marks probably a pretty strong start to our next tier. Which I'd say probably is, if we're looking at it, we're looking at the teams we expect to go flip-flopping between Elite and Challenger. Would be Layden, Vanguard, and Overclocked.
Layden, Vanguard, Overclocked.
And Evo.
Yeah.
I wouldn't expect Evo to flip-flop. I expected them to be a lot stronger than they were in the last leg. I think they had a really shocking leg, honestly.
Tough leg.
Do you think they're a level above those teams?
I would expect so.
Because kind of
In
bottom of
general.
the next tier is where we're thinking Eva will be then.
Yeah, I'd say if we're looking at the teams, we look at the performance they put in leg 1. And that's like the leg they were taking a reverse sweep of 2CP when 2CP were still like close to their strongest. That's when they were, you know, even when they lost the team mist, they in the last leg it was still a reverse sweep, it's still 3-2. You know, they still took a map of Sugi. I wouldn't say that puts them at a tier with Leiden and Overclocked and
No, I think we should talk about Leiden actually, because I'm having seen that team play recently. I'm not super hard on Leiden. He's preparing himself. Because okay, so let's talk about this tier, this next tier up, right?
Before we talk
about
about Aiden, can we mute Blur just so?
Kick him out the core, bro. You
What-
eat him
you know
out.
what- do you
and
know-
we bring him back in.
wow. But how am I going to know who to put where then?
you can hear us. You just can't talk. That's how muting works.
You can watch from chat, bro.
You can watch up chat.
Sorry, what were those 3 teams? Leiden, Overclocked, and
Vanguard.
Vanguard.
Yeah,
I think.
Vanguard,
Have you guys played
Vanguard.
Vanguard, Peach?
we
Yes, you
scrummed
played them
Vanguard
in
last
scrim
week.
and you said it went well for
No,
you.
no.
No, it was the other way around.
It was the other way around.
shocked.
It
So,
felt like a complete
Vanguard is an
stomp,
interesting
yeah.
team. They've made a couple of players to their roster recently, right? They added Damien at the beginning of the second stage. They've added Cryo Phoenix. Was that
No,
them? Or
Cryo
was
Phoenix
that
went to
overtime?
overtime.
That was
yeah,
overtime.
they added Bubbles.
Bubbles
They took Bubbles
from-
from
from-
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Bubbles is their new main tank.
Main
now.
tank.
In
New-
place of
yeah, new MT.
Stalker, I think.
Stalker, yeah.
went
Stalker went to
to
2CP.
Where is Bubble? Why is he not in chat?
Yeah,
Bubble?
we're gonna talk. We're
So
gonna
other
talk about
Bubbles,
that.
okay?
swap
Let's
to
clear
2CP.
up any
This is-
confusion here.
okay, so-
Risen Bubbles is Die Bubbles.
Feeding Bubbles is Risen's main tank. What would we call Vanguard's
Good-
bubble?
good
Would
bubble.
that be Carry
The
Bubbles?
real,
I
the
know-
real one.
The real
Yeah, I know
Bubbles.
people calling her real Bubbles because she was
Yeah.
around first.
He's in chat. There's
I'm
two
also
Bubbles.
having flashbacks to the time when I joined Kaza when it was Bubbles the receptionist.
Oh my god.
Yeah, no.
That was a long time
remember
ago.
that.
I was a receptionist back in the day. Good time.
Yeah, I remember you being this receptionist actually.
I was a receptionist forever. I fucking rocked that role. It's
Can we power rank receptionists next?
Can we cool it on the script?
There is-
Sorry, what were you saying?
Can we power rank our receptionists after?
You don't have that much time, dude. You want to sit here and like, what are we on early tomorrow, dude?
Okay, so we've got Vanguard, we've got Overclocked, and we have Leiden.
I think Overclocked is the bottom based on recent scrimbucks.
Ooh,
Scrum money.
Overclocked under Leiden. Okay.
Oh wow.
Oh
not
no,
after,
sorry, I
not
forgot
after
Leiden
recent
is-
scrum bucks.
Is
How much-
polar right now, so you can stick Leiden at the bottom there.
How are the scrumbacks impacting the stonks here?
I think they're pretty low impact.
Okay,
I think we
here's-
have to read more based on rosters and what we expect from
Yeah.
the
Oh,
players
wait,
that
hold
were
up,
impacted.
hold up. I mean, there's some value though. You know, it's not dollar to the rand like no value. Like we talking, it's like
Something dollar to the pound, something like that.
dollar to the pounds. Yeah, like it's kind of there's some value, and I think something to be taken from like scrims at least. And I think
Okay.
I don't
I
think
don't
you fully
disagree.
like you don't obviously take it as the holy grail and like that's how it is. But I think you got to take at least maybe even individual performance like to impact in games. Like clutch potential and stuff.
Yeah.
I
Which,
think so.
which
So
Overclocked
here's
has got.
Unreal
Go
Nick
for
proved me wrong.
what was I saying? Downsides for Leiden, they just lost 2 of their strongest players, in my opinion. Like
definitely.
of who's still around, obviously Kiru is pretty cracked. Kiri, sorry. And I rate Dogstar pretty highly. As part
And
of
also
that roster.
Toes. We've got Toes and Babs still there.
Toes, sure, fair
for
enough.
that.
But here's the thing about the 9 DPS they have on that team, right? Who do they play?
15 DPS.
They play Kiru and Too Easy, probably, right?
Yeah,
Kiri.
probably
I'm
Kiri
not
and
calling
Toes
it
And
Babs.
if neither of those, then Chaotic and Babs will be floating around as well.
But that's my thing. What is this floating around?
Yeah, what is floating around?
Specialists, bro. You gotta whip them out when the time calls for them.
When you can practice 8 hours a day every day, then you can mess around with specialists. When you have 2 hours of practice a day, 3 days a week,
No.
just get your 6 sorted. In my humble opinion. So that's a criticism I've had of Leiden since the beginning of the year.
He says as a former Leiden captain.
So not
Yeah.
when you were there.
Sorry?
Well, not when you were there though. Right?
No, but
No criticism though.
It's
mean,
getting
You
spicy.
kind of got farmed when you were there.
look,
Oh, it hurts.
I
Oh, it hurts in here.
I love you, son. I love you. Yeah, but this
Oh
is
wow.
talking from experience, eh? Let's put it that way. I've been on a bad Leiden, and this is a better Leiden. I'll be frank with you. You don't agree? No, this is a
think
better
I
Leiden
agree
than
and disagree.
the Leiden I ended on. Let's put it that way.
Yes, that's different. But the later
Yeah.
when I came in, even as someone who like just got introduced to the scene, like when we played against them, like it put us up against the wall, like you know, not like
those were the
not
good
like
old
you know
days.
unidentified up against the wall, like you know Eden at those points, but like still like toe to toe.
Obvious.
And I think we even lost matches.
For the first half of TC really took off later.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
guys got
but-
pretty cracked after a couple
After a
of
leg,
months.
yeah.
After,
it was-
after they decided to sub the effect out.
But look, I can speak from the perspective of somebody who was on a bad Leiden. This is not a terrible Leiden. This is a better Leiden than the Leiden I ended on. But they've got some clear issues. Losing two of their strongest players. I mean, Blur is probably the strongest player they had. Smiley, I think, is pretty cracked in however cracked the main support can be.
Lucio,
And while I value Darkstar and you mentioned Too Easy and Kiri still highly, I think subbing in those players and kind of not having that roster nailed down, that well is still a concern that I have. And that I've had
Yeah,
throughout
I'd
the year.
say
And recent scrim results have not, and watching the scrims, have not assuaged that concern for me.
I'd say they just don't look like they have the direction of their team quite. So. And I'd say that at this stage, you know, a day before finals, like it's too
It's a
late. for
big
that.
issue. Yeah.
You know, if you want to like at the when I was there, it was a situation of where we're trying to push the elite division. We want to be in that elite. But I think now, I think that's they're on the verge of falling into that challenger hard stuck if they don't hit the ground running at finals. I really see them losing out to the people below them.
Yeah, I think Calypso and Risen could really put up a good fight
I think Leiden are worse now than they were
at the end of stage 2.
Yeah, at the end of
I
Okay,
agree.
so then we have to look at the Vanguard Overclocked interaction.
Look, let's rate the Leiden overclock interaction first. Let's just get that now.
Overclock Darmstadt Leiden. There.
Easy. Leiden number 10.
Jesus
Just straight up.
Yeah.
I will say what the former Leiden player, main tank, and the current overclocked captain can't say.
Wow, getting the big leaks here.
And say for the scrim bugs, there's some real value out there. I'm not gonna lie.
Mir's picking up what I'm putting down. Let's put it that way.
Hey, you might need to go outside to catch a little breeze.
Yeah.
Like, the man is nasty, dude. Jeepers. Oh.
Yeah, go outside is cracked, man. I wish I'd seen
That's-
the Vanguard overclocked match to actually get a sense of how it played out. Not match.
I
sorry, the scrim.
can confirm that it was without their full core present because I think Cubic was
Cubic
running
was
with
not
Typo
there.
that night.
Cubic
Yeah,
was
so-
still
Oh, and
type of
Cubic is like your carry, other than go outside.
that. I'll carry, yeah. No, yeah.
I mean, it's a
No,
way
I'll
of phrasing it,
carry.
and I would say it's not entirely inaccurate, right?
Yeah.
No, it's
right?
not entirely inaccurate, but I mean, I feel like there are some players that do pull their own weight every now.
No, you have
For
to
sure.
say that.
You do.
If I was captain of a team and I was like, 4 of the players are surplus to requirements, we only really need the 2. Then I'd be like,
Yeah.
question marks would start to be raised, My team would start to be like, hey, yo, do you mind? Like,
But
Yeah.
speaking as someone who's been doing some coaching with Overclocked, he does add a lot to comms. So even if we're just counting gameplay impact, which obviously there is, he adds a lot to the way the team communicates, and so the rest of the team feeds off that and performs better for it. So
makes sense.
I'd say that's a valuable thing to be missing, but they did struggle again.
And I think Miru, you and I were casting together, and we saw when they took Cubic out, they looked a lot worse.
Yeah, we were saying it felt like very lost. It's sort of like the team was playing in like the ether. It was very weird.
In the
Like,
ether.
it was like
And then
yeah,
they
there
swapped
was-
the main tag and the off tag, and I lost my
Yeah,
damn mind.
that's exactly.
like, what
that
is
was like the
happening?
cool. That was when I was just like, yo, like like I know it's scrims and yeah, you know, you don't want to like put everyone on the roll, but y'all are throwing right now. Like, you know, it was like I just didn't feel like you're not getting value if you're playing like that. So like, you know, it was just a big fat facepalm question mark. So yeah,
It's more of a like hero pools are overlapping, and we're trying to figure out which one works better in certain new play styles.
Yeah, I'm thinking of that. It's just like it's a lot of these teams, especially like in this tier. I think y'all need to have like already figured out what the structure is and the way you're gonna play, and like not just the roles, but like also like, you know, the rosters that you're gonna field, and you know the sort of the roles that they're gonna be on, and then also just the team comps themselves. Like it needs to be like a lot more dialed in. Like it seems like screws are a little too loose in certain places, you know, and it sort of pays off when you watch the games go through and you go like, they really shouldn't have lost that, or you know, they should win this free, and then you wait and then it's just like pause champ, and then it's and then they're lost, and you're like, okay, well, you know.
Oh yeah.
So I hope to see a lot, like it needs to be tighter. That's all I want for this like this team especially. This is where like things get a lot interesting, I think, from this sort of bracket upwards. I mean, no offense to the you know, the people down there, but like this is the Overwatch here gets a lot more faster pace and a lot more tighter.
So Vanguard in there. How do we feel about Vanguard? Vanguard, of course, against the Overclock roster in that scrim, we're playing with Possum on main tank.
Oh, so Bubbles
Which
coming
was-
in will make a big difference. But
So
it did
Bubbles
come in
coming
very
in
late
will
in the day.
put Possum in on his main role.
Yeah.
I think the scrum bucks are big for Vanguard. So I'd say Overclock, Leiden, Vanguard in that order.
Overclock, Leiden, Vanguard. I disagree. Leiden, Overclock, Vanguard.
I'd agree with Sun.
Okay, I'm pretty close on 9 and 10. So
Yeah.
I just think Vanguard should be a go in it.
I think so.
I-
Maybe.
I'm quite. I would rate Leiden in 10th, and then either of Overclocked and Vanguard. I'd love to see that match and see who comes on the top. I think that could really depend on who performs well on the day. But I'm happy with having Overclocked and Vanguard in 8th.
I would say that Overclocked would be 9. Definitely there. I'd say Vanguard probably have that experience that we can consider them as our power rankings in 8th and put the challenge out there to Overclock to overcome them.
Yeah.
But I think Leiden, a little bit of a decline, and especially from what we've seen of them recently, not the most impressive, should be 10th.
All right, I'm good. Scribe it in stone. Let's go.
It's kind of been in stone.
Again, prove us wrong, everyone.
Also, Nick,
Here, there.
Nick, if you guys want to be placed above Overclocked in the roster, in the power rank, you should try qualifying for Elite Division. Milestone.
Look like an archive.
Oh dear me.
Yeah, we beat them once just after the arc landed from the floods.
Yeah, it's like back in the day when I was still on Equinox, we beat Thunderclap in scrims.
Yeah.
But you know, yeah, it's big value right there, my boys. That's
Yeah,
real.
back
you
when
know.
2CP was first created, we used to beat them regularly if we
Damn,
want to go
you know,
way back in time.
Okay, so what is this tier's name?
This is my cat when I open the door, but with Elitive going in and out.
In and out.
I'm trying to think of a better way to phrase that, but it's all coming out sexual, to be honest.
Oh dear.
That's on you, son. That's genuine.
I
It
would
should be called Almost There. It was
I
like
mean,
I
that's not
almost asked,
completely
buddy.
bad.
Yeah, but
Crazy?
just me? They just decided to change the money. Go back to the other division.
Yeah,
fair, these-
I
yeah,
think
these
if
are-
we did 20 more
Yeah.
stages, these teams would probably bounce up and down.
Yeah.
Pretty reliable.
So
They'd be
so
a
is this
bottom
our-
elite
is this our
top
seesaw
of
tier?
challenger.
Cecil,
What is that
that's a
seesaw
great
tier?
word.
Cecil, that's actually a good name. I like that.
Flux,
Cecil.
Flux, Cecil,
Let's see.
anything like that.
Fall Guys
Name it
Cecil.
the Elite Division Gatekeeper says.
Actual
Boy Adam.
actual Fall
But I don't
Guy
think-
Cecil though.
This
Yeah.
isn't the
I think-
Gatekeepers though.
Actual Fall Guys Seesaw. Okay.
Yeah.
Is that going to be too long?
No, just,
Well, just Fall Guys.
actual, just make it Fall Guys Cecil.
Yeah, Fall Guys Cecil because that's literally accurate.
That's perfect. Yeah, that's perfect.
They
Okay.
look good and then they just.
So I wouldn't say that this tier would be the Elite Division gatekeepers. I'd say the tier above them would be the Elite Division
Yes,
gatekeepers.
that's
Sure.
how gatekeeping
I mean,
works.
yeah, like it implies that you're like if you're going to be the Elite Division gatekeeping, you know, it implies that you're going to stay in Elite Division.
Yeah.
Exactly. It implies that you're keeping the other teams out of the Elite Division.
Exactly. And that's
So-
what Ragequit has done for the past 2 stages.
That's Odyssey, man. Straight
That's
up.
Odyssey. That's Evo. Would we say TSG is past that tier?
I would say TSG is a tier above that for sure.
Definitely. I think
But like how much though? But like how much?
I don't
though?
know.
You see, I'm with Blur on this. But how much you want to?
I rate that TSG squad.
It was 3-2 versus Evo. It was 3 maps that were very, very close versus Odyssey. Even though they ended up winning them all, they were like a fight.
Odyssey
you see.
took 2 maps off Kintsugi. So,
Who's
Yeah.
this? TSG.
Yeah.
gee. No, yeah, no. I don't think they should be.
In this tier.
I
Yeah.
think
I don't disagree.
think they should be because again, at the same time, Odyssey and Evo both took a map off Kintsugi in that leg. Like I'd say Kintsugi are a tier above because of like sheer consistency. But
Yeah.
I'd say TSG, like I think TSG we have to see more of before we can really say wow they're like up there.
I don't think TSG will lose a map to anyone RQ, Evo, Vanguard, or below.
RQ, Evo, Vanguard, or below. I think they could lose maps to Evo, I think.
I think they could lose to Evo and to.
I think RQ's on a bit of a hot streak as well, with how the results have been going recently.
Look, yeah, I'm counting in that they've been overperforming and Evo have been underperforming. Like typically,
Yes.
that matchup was quite close, but at this moment, I don't think they should be in the same tier. Prove us wrong, but I think with the data we have and what we've seen, I don't think they.
Yeah, I think TSG for me is definitely a tier above those two teams.
And then the big.
But I
elephant
mean,
in
it's
the
up
room-
to Evo again. I agree with the fate completely.
Yeah.
Prove us wrong. I think Evo, that they're in a kind of prove it phase.
The big elephant in the room has to be then 2CP.
Yes, but 2CP made some significant changes.
Yeah, TCP are what we're gonna.
But
Ooh, I can't wait to rip into this team.
But
your boy
2CP,
Aquatic
do we
is
then
gonna
place them?
take a beating today.
Do we then place them above because we expect that their changes will make a difference, or do we place them in the gatekeepers tier
I don't
because we're expecting?
Nah, I don't think gatekeepers.
No.
I genuinely don't think.
Put in Evo
don't
and
think so.
Odyssey. I think the discussion we should have right now is where Evo, Odyssey, which one goes above the other in the gatekeeper.
Okay, so let's talk about Evo and Odyssey.
Well,
Evo-
the recent results have favored Odyssey quite comfortably, 3-1 again in stage 2. Evo looked
Yeah.
crapola in that series,
Crap.
but they, based on what you told me, Blur, they are figuring stuff out, and they have figured some stuff out.
I think it's worth noting that they were a really bad double barrier team. I think they'll admit it themselves. They are awful at that comp, and in a meta that was double barrier, they just look bad.
I don't think they're a very good Zarya Hog team either, to be fair.
But they won't be playing
but you're
Zarya
not-
Hog.
you're not
They'll
bound
be
to that,
playing
though.
something
That's-
different, which is what all
Yeah.
Blur's
Would they be
teams
playing
play.
Zarya Hog or would they be playing Zarya Winston?
Winston.
Like Zarya Winston, I'd say is equally valuable and equally exploitable in that situation.
I don't know, Coach
Yes
Blur.
and no.
You tell us what they'll be playing.
As the insider, I'm working off my gut here.
Nah,
I'm not here to leak strats.
it's strats leaking. It's,
I think if they're on a map that favors the Hog instead of the Winston, I think they're a bit of this. I think maps where they can run the Winston without like taking a penalty, they'll be fine. But I still think there'll be a slight debuff on the meta configuration.
I don't even think it'll be up to them taking a penalty. I think it's if whoever's going up against Evo figures out what they're sort of trying to initiate into a fight with. If it were, for instance, to be the Winston Zarya because they were a favorable dive team, and if they roll with that and they punish it, it's kind of like now what? You're gonna put Maestro on Hog and expect the mans to carry. Like
The Maestro Hog, that's the big question mark for me.
that's a big question mark, and I think it's a
I
Lots
mean-
of question mark with the prefix ... and then
You'd have to definitely expect
Sad.
the.
I think the question mark is Maestro's hook just flying through the air, connecting with nothing.
Connecting with nothing.
catching nothing but feelings in the air, dog. Can't hook a person, but hooks the feels, dog.
I mean, if you do
That's
end up
the
playing a
energy.
Hog Zarya though, because you're playing a double off tank strat, you could kind of potentially rotate your roster to suit that. Like,
But
you don't
Yeah,
have to play
you
Hog as
but you
main
don't
tank there.
ever want to do that.
Yeah, but
Yeah, dude, Maestro has been that team. It's been Maestro and the lads since the fucking Equinox days.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I'm not saying in terms of like subbing him out. I'm saying in terms of like you don't have to have your main tank play main tank. So if he was to potentially, so in a meta where it's two off tanks, just like in a meta where it's two main tanks. If you have some, if you were
Okay.
playing Orisa Ryan, you'd play.
Right.
He would play whichever one he was more comfortable on, or if you had to potentially switch off, it's the one that you would not switch.
okay.
In this
but-
situation, you'd have the like if you decided to play the Hog Zaya, you'd have him play. It's not necessarily a question of how good his Hog is. It could be a question of how good his Zaya is.
Ooh, and then my question goes into: does he get value of the Zarya? Period.
Captains,
Period.
put him on Zarya. Write it down.
It's such a risky
that is a
swap
question.
over.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I think it's
It's
a
a
weird
question mark. But
analysis
let's
to make.
look
It's
at-
like how do you take your main tank and what are you expecting from?
You
Yeah.
expect him to, do his job.
And if we're talking about main tanks and like having confusion about the off tank hero pool, I think then you're looking at RQ as an advantage because Quacha was a main tank or an off tank
Exactly.
previously.
Or an off tank, exactly.
Yeah,
So,
he was an off tank
they
for
ha-
Vendetta.
yeah, and they have like they have the flexibility. Whereas my issue with Evo is like that lack
Yeah.
of flexibility, and I think that double barrier meta, spoke truths. You know what I mean? Like there's big question marks to the fact that they, struggle with a meta like that. It's just like, dude.
I mean, like I have to take some blame for that. To be fair,
No,
was
no,
trying to get them to force
I'm
it.
talking.
No,
Nah.
like let's just be honest here. I was trying to get them to force it, and it wasn't sticking, and I tried to keep forcing it.
Like I agree. Okay, listen, I agree with you, but I think there's more to the matters of just the coach forced it and we didn't roll with it, so then GG's. It's like your players aren't comfortable with it, and it's also just up to themselves and the way they play and their play style.
Can someone make the Twitch poll feature and just get the chat to vote on which
Yeah, I can do that quickly. Just give me a split second.
poll?
Odyssey versus Evo is like the Cowser derby. True.
And then if you're looking at Sombra Ash was like a what else would we even be running? Would we be running Genji still at
Would
this
you?
stage?
Well, I mean, would you really?
Would she? I don't think you would.
I
don't think so.
Would you be running?
I haven't been seeing any Genji other than
there's some
overclocked messing around against
Yeah.
Rage Quit
Oh yeah, true.
leaks. But
Leaks?
anyways.
I don't know. But to put it up to a verdict now, what are we thinking as a consensus?
I'd say skip it and let the chat vote, and then go to number 5.
Are we chatting?
This will be.
I'm not gonna
Evo.
make the eventual
Yeah.
decision here because I will just get in trouble for that.
Yeah, no, I will make the call. But let's get that
Make the
voted.
call.
Yeah, I'm gonna put on a 2-minute duration on the poll, and then we're gonna
Put
start
it
it.
in. Let's
Try
get
again
it.
in a moment. What do you mean, Twitch?
Try again.
Okay, you
now.
can
Try
sort that
again in a
out.
moment.
We can move to the next year.
You add
Yeah,
can you
let's
add
move to the next tier while I try and get that sorted.
Okay,
tier
so
break between 5 and 6, please. And
I'm just gonna put these here as question mark.
Yeah. And then if the poll doesn't work, we just go for 1 for Odyssey and 2 for Evo, and then
I have my Dungeon Dragons dice here. I'll roll a d20 for us.
Flip a coin. But anyways.
Okay, so we're calling these the Elite Division gatekeepers, yeah?
The White Knights of Elite.
Tonight.
I'm not gonna say Elite White Knights because that does not give the image I'm looking for.
Elite White Knights.
Elite White Knights.
I'm just going Elite Gatekeepers. It's just safer.
Gatekeepers is fine.
Or Elite Bouncers. Let's go Elite Bouncers.
Bounces to the
Okay.
Because if you come in Elite and you're not supposed to be there, they'll throw you out.
Bounces a
That's
good
fair.
one. So we've got now 5 teams, right? We've got OG, 2CP,
Well, we got 4
TSG, Beastie Boys, and ATK. I mean, okay, we were gonna talk about ATK, but fine,
We'll
4
get there.
teams.
We'll get there.
Now, OG and TSG are the next question, and 2CP. I think they're a tier below Beastie Boys, in my opinion.
What? Yes.
Depending on which Beastie Boys shows up.
Whoa.
Look, I don't.
Oh.
That is true. It gets weird at the end, but let's discuss that later. Let's go. 2CP, TSG. That's the question.
You think
Yeah,
OG's a
by the
step
way.
above them?
Is OG above?
I don't think. I think they're in the same tier, but OG will top that tier.
Mirror's face.
There's-
Alright.
I think this is another one of those tiers that could go in any configuration of those three teams.
Oh, really?
I think
Yeah.
OG has been too consistent to say that they should be below either TSG or 2.
Yeah, I agree.
I think they've been third 3 times in a row now. Can we just be real here? They're just
Yeah.
Just put
Yeah.
put OG.
You have any faith in Coach Lagbeast?
I think that Lagbeast. Okay, I obviously have very good experiences with Lagbeast. Lagbeast was a wonderful captain. He was a very good mental person to have in the team. I think that's a core weakness of 2CPs is that their mental has always been their problem. Even if we're talking back to Ashbro Riposte, we're talking about like mental being their problem. I think Lagbeast is exactly the person to have there. But I also worry because Lagbeast's been out of the game, so that he's not going to help that team really adjust to new metas. Not really going to be the most tactically aware coach.
To be
But-
fair, though, Lagbeast has the best mental and the best mental coaching.
Yeah, best mental in the country. Like no question. He's gonna make their mental a million times better, and he's gonna make them just understand how their actions affect each other.
Yeah.
But I think that again, OG has just been too consistent. This is a team that we didn't expect big things from, and they've produced big things over and over again.
Yeah.
We also haven't seen OG play, on broadcast since Terran Lord was on the team.
Exactly.
So we have no real sense of how good they are. Now, I know, Blur, you've got a bit of a better look into them because you got to watch some of their matches, I think. And they were a lot closer than...
Just VOD.
Or whatever.
Pull up the VOD, bro.
I just.
And do you think they're not as good? I mean, they're third place, but they're maybe not a comfortable third place based on what how you've seen them perform.
I'd say there's definitely room to take them off that place, but again,
Yes.
you have to say, okay, look, I think that teams can beat them, but I think the important fact is that teams haven't. Every time I say every match against them looks so close, but then they win.
They put it out every time. Yeah.
And having that kind of mental strength, having that kind of performance consistency, having the means to perform at a consistent level while rotating your roster, they're such a resilient team. And like whether or not they can be beaten just is besides the point. They haven't.
Yeah, no, that is very true.
Like
core
where
roster,
everyone else
I mean-
have like gone up and down, they've just stayed third place.
Their core of the
They're
ninja,
very consistent.
like on Diablo, Alvin Slayer, those guys are really good at the game. And yeah,
Eriksen, yeah.
yeah. I don't want to bring him up because I think he rotates sloppy sometimes, but
I think they've got him down as part of their main roster for
I
this
think,
thing, though.
Ericsson is main roster. I can confirm.
Yeah.
but I mean, main roster in OG is always a dubious prospect.
Yeah. It's
But I mean-
it's the starting default lineup.
The team, that's like a problem. But anyways, that is dubious at this stage. We
Well,
spoke
I
about
mean,
it later.
it's not really. We're talking about a team that's shown that they can rotate players effectively. So
That we built the culture of that team to be you can plug and play. You can plug and play with anyone there.
You built a culture of Thunderclap to be there.
Yeah, that it's left. I'll be honest. I haven't not in on their server anymore. No.
So I think we make a lot of comparisons between Thunderclap and Kintsugi that are not like we make a lot of we put a lot of similarities on those two teams as though they come from the same core, but they don't. It's just a ninja
Just a ninja.
and Eriksen, technically.
Yeah. Okay.
Steadfast.
yeah,
the
but I mean, they are
steadfast
still
boy.
building on the base that OG had.
Yeah. Implement.
You know, where they are now and the kind of pulling power the team had is a result of Thunderclap. So Elven Slayer and Orth leaving Odyssey was a result of OG having better sponsors, OG
Sure.
having better offers.
Yeah.
But that's not for me, that's not really a huge indicator of performance in game, which is
But
the
I mean-
conversation we're having now.
Look, I think
We've seen the strength of their.
No,
performance.
I'm not
They've
saying
just
they're
won
not
over and
good,
over
but I'm
again.
just saying we make comparisons to TC as though it became Kintsugi from TC, but for all intents and purposes, it's a new team, a new philosophy.
It's pretty much.
Okay. Look, I think we're splitting hairs here. I don't think anyone here is advocating that they don't go in third place on the rankings, though, right? They're locked in that roster.
I don't know. Maybe I'm putting too much stock in 2CP's name, but in my head, I'm always like, they can pull something out. They've got Silencio, Aquatic, and DPS. That's pretty cracked. Verdi's a pretty strong off tank. They've added Wallace from Evo now into that main support role.
They're just collecting main supports, by the way. They're just like infinite stones. The more
who,
they have, the more
who actually
powerful they
plays?
become.
They have Slade
powerful.
and Wallace.
Blade and Wallace and
Tox.
Yeah,
I mean,
Tox, bro.
the
The
core they
best
have listed
main
is
support
Tox
in
and
the
Slade.
country.
yeah, and Squishy is an off.
The only question mark for me is Stalker in main tank.
Yeah, look, the guy's up and coming, and that's always like a.
Bless you.
Sorry.
I'm hoping he can adapt well to having better DPS on his team. Not trying to throw shade at his previous team, but I think Silencio and Aquatic is at the
Yeah.
top.
I don't think anybody compares favorably to Silencio. and-
Yeah, there's a few DPS.
My big concern about Stalker is that we talk about him as an up and coming main tank, but he's been playing in a roster for the majority of the year, and it hasn't landed. Like he hasn't landed as you haven't seen a consistently strong performance out of it.
Yeah, but he only finally got enough rare candies like a month ago to evolve for his next Pokemon evolution.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think you can't. It's like a bigger testament to like the whole discussion of like having bad main tanks will look terrible with a terrible team. Like the man when they put the SR average up against the board, and the team put their average SR, like most of them were in gold. The man was in diamond. He was sitting like mid diamond, like the entire season. He's putting in his work.
Yeah.
There's only so much one person can do in a 6v6. Like
I doubt he'll be a liability.
But it's also like if we're looking at SRs is a representation of a very different thing to team performance.
no, for sure. But I think it still counts towards the measure of someone's ability and the sort of comprehension of the way the game works. Which clearly, if you saw the results of the way they would play, like it wasn't always there, and they were never taking the sort of elite division and all that stuff. That was never happening. But now he's in this position now where he can be in the elite division, and he can be put onto, within a team where there's a lot of cohesion, and he might even have this opportunity to shine. So I actually put my faith in him. I'll put my money on it. I think he'll be fine. I think he'll be Gucci.
And the opposite side of that coin is obviously he joined the team quite late in the day.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
He joined the team
that as
quite
well.
late in the game.
In the game.
Wow.
In the day.
He joined that team quite late in the day, and it is a team that hasn't been performing particularly well in their own right.
Yeah,
They
okay.
only just missed off on going into playoffs.
Yeah,
going-
the
going-
bad playoffs at the
But that
bottom.
was
Yeah.
but that was bad. TCP.
Yeah.
This is new TCP. This is Lag Beast TCP.
Yeah, I was gonna say
did
that's
have
where a guy
Lag
like
Beast at that
Lagbeast
stage.
comes in
Okay.
handy.
So let's quickly just tell me who do you rate in this matchup right now? OG TCP and Sun.
Consistency OG.
OG Blur. Yuru, what do you say?
OG or TCP?
Yeah, just
I
pick one.
put 2CP.
2CP.
OG can kiss me on the mouth, dog.
I think again, same reasons as before. Kintsugi have just been really consistent, and like they might not be the absolute best, but they're sure damn consistent, and they're able to just maintain a level of just that. And for that reason, I think I'll put OG above XVG.
Sun, what's your input?
Like I said, I put a lot of stock in the name. And looking at the roster and giving it some thought, 2CP for me, I have faith. I'm with Miro on this one. I have faith in that.
It does sound like it's going to be one of those close matchups as well.
Yeah. It could
Look,
be-
I agree. I think this will be one of the best matches to watch when we get to that matchup. I do rate OG just on consistency. Like I said, if this is the 2CP that showed up in like leg one and in the calibrations, it's not going to be close. But if it's the 2CP that showed up in the end of leg two with the boomed mental, then
Yeah, they're going to get boomed
I
in the
think-
game.
But
My-
wait. One more point. The 2 cents to put in there. Okay. It's and I think maybe even Blur can attest to that. It's the new meta, right? Okay.
Fair enough.
There's no more double shield. All right. Now think about this. Put this in the frame of mind. All right. Aquatic. Okay. Right. Widowmaker, and you put it together. That's done. Then you've done it.
That's a complicated
Go ahead
equation,
and say
dog. I'm
whatever
not
you
sure I
wanna
can
say.
keep up.
Give me your 5 cents. I'll get nothing to it. To put a Quantica wouldn't make my day.
My
It's a
Since-
yo. It's a good point.
Not wrong.
here's my thing: Rex and Hanzo, and I think. Look, I love everyone on
Alright.
they're great guys, but I think the tank line is their weakness here. Like we had first remarks about Stalker, and he's going to come in on a hog. We had Vertigo, who's been,
Diva main.
Diva main,
on off.
who now has to go on Zarya, which I think is one of her worst tanks.
Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe. I think if you put that tank line and have them go up against the pressure of a Rex and Hanzo, just spamming them down, and on Diablo's Reaper or Tracer, I think they'll buckle. I think they'll buckle before the positioning of OG buckles.
OG starting roster, also something to note, includes Zoom as their main tank.
the shield Andy.
Yeah.
Yeah. A
so-
shield player.
As opposed to Phoenix Shears, who's been playing for them the last time we saw them on
He's
broadcast.
also a Diva player.
Yeah, but he's been grinding Orisa quite a lot. But I think I'm just saying. Okay, he just never mind.
True. No. I get it. But I think if we're just talking about like the consideration what we took into like what Orisa was now, man.
No, yeah, I don't think anybody should be playing Orisa.
I mean, if we're
But-
talking about main tank though, that we're expecting to play Winston or Ryan, we would be talking about Zoom, surely.
Yeah.
yes.
100%.
And
Zooms is Winston.
So
is
it
fine.
becomes a question of Zoom and Alvin Slayer versus Verti and Stalker.
Zoom's a good main tank. Like
I-
Zoom's a
I-
genuinely
I
good main
rate-
tank.
And Alvin Slayer is a solid off tank.
Yeah,
think.
Alvin's mechanical skill and his kind of mental is insane.
I
Who are the
get
other
it.
tanks
but
for OG? Oh, we spoke about Phoenix Tears. Oh, no,
Phoenix
that's,
Tears is, he was
it's
their
just
main
yeah,
tank
it's
in
just
double
those
barrier
two.
meta.
yeah.
I think they've subbed Slumpy once or twice.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
there's
he-
a
he-
flex
he
issue I
is-
have with the OG team though. So
Same like you had for Evo before.
yeah, exactly the same thing.
So-
Alvin for me does not flex on the other off tanks as much as he could carry and have that potential on Sigma. It's just like it's.
But if we want to look like the performances that actually got him picked up were on Rodok.
From
That was
where?
the meta he was really strong in.
Really?
A fair point.
In Hot Hook meta, he was insanely. That was the meta where Odyssey came into finals at like 14th seed and ended 8th.
Odyssey.
Yeah, because he
When
was
he
playing for
was on-
EGSA
yeah,
Odyssey at that stage.
Odyssey. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting point.
So
I
okay,
think
can I-
look, we were
sorry,
we were
sorry.
3-2 for TCP. Sorry, Defect. Go for it.
I'm getting
Yeah.
shut down.
Sorry.
I'm trying to make progress here. I don't want to bring up another point.
Oh, yeah.
Are we rating TSG against any of these teams? Can we put TSG in 5?
Hectic.
I think yeah.
I want
think
to see
we...
I want to see the TSG 2CP match that we're gonna see. I think at 12 tomorrow.
Yeah, first
Right.
match.
The first match of tomorrow. Like I really want to see.
That's gonna
it.
be big.
That's
That's
gonna
gonna be big. I'm so keen.
because it's gonna be what? It's gonna be the first time seeing 2CP's
The
new
2CP, yeah.
frontline. Like in seeing how they've readapted to everything, because obviously they came out out of a bad stage too, along with a couple other teams. But Team Mist are also starting to be consistent. Maybe not to the same consistency levels as OG, but I feel like there's definitely a structure there, and I
Look-
want to see that compete against 2CP.
Yes, I
Yeah.
agree, but I think it's clear here that we can rate 2CP in 4th. I think TSG
For
is
sure.
coming as a slight underdog, but I
Yeah.
don't think TSG are any danger from like RQ, Odyssey, or EVO.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. But I think TSG definitely can compete against 2CP more than they can against OG, which is one of the reasons why I want to put OG above 2CP.
A fair point. So let's
think-
stick
I think
TSG in
OG
that
as
fourth
well.
place spot.
Be above. Yes. Anyway.
Seems like we've been outvoted here, Mira. It seems like the people are falling on the side of OG, which is totally fine.
Chat's gonna arrive. I think if we get
That's
one.
gonna arrive.
we get
I'm
one
waiting for it.
more-
I'm gonna put the OG in 3rd, and I'm just waiting for Note to shit me out. Sorry, POS.
That's fine.
You're not the
That's
first
fine.
defector already, Swan. Smiley face.
Right. Oh, I've been keeping track. I should keep count, eh? of defects.
Just get a count on
transgressions.
stream.
Oh yeah. No, I've not been paying attention how much I've been swearing.
Take it to your list.
There we go.
There it
TSG,
is.
2CP, Kintsugi, Second place, only remaining team
The Beastie Boys.
in a tier of their own.
Yeah,
think.
I mean, like, oof.
Okay,
I
this team drives me bonkers.
Insane.
Because
I just think back to that game we casted.
yeah, on Hanamura, dude, I was
Just
losing my
before
whole
before we
mind.
before we discuss BC tier, what are we calling third, fourth, and fifth tier?
Okay.
Champions. Like,
Are they? Well, they're chasing the prize pool slots, aren't they?
yeah.
Yeah, actually, yeah,
So what do you
because
call it?
that's
Prize
third,
slots.
fourth, and fifth. Those are the final remaining
what do you-
prize.
Here
What do you
for the
call it?
money.
Third and fourth.
Third and
yeah.
fourth. Sorry, third and fourth. Yeah.
Prize pool hopefuls, I think is the
Piggy bank.
Piggy
bank.
bank.
piggy bank.
Piggy bank.
Piggy bank, yeah.
Oh,
Paragon's asking if we can put him in S tier.
yo, my dude just show up out of nowhere and be like,
Just a revive.
right top.
Around the well.
The wrong order
Um,
tier, Stalker.
Piggy bank.
Stalker, I put a lot on
The
your name right now, bro. You know you got riding.
yeah,
you
dude, you
got a
gotta
lot riding,
perform.
you big
Pressure's
man.
on. Pressure's on. Me and
Pressure's
Miro are
on,
actually gonna
big
cast
man.
you tomorrow, first game, so you have to impress us.
I'm excited. I'm
Bro, I
gonna
put money on your name. You know, come through.
Okay, what was our result of that poll
Okay.
for Odyssey and Evo, by the way?
So out of the 16 votes that we got, Rage Quit Odyssey won the poll with a 69% vote, compared to Evo only getting 31%. So majority of people think that
The people
Odyssey
have
is
spoken.
greater than Evo.
People have spoken. You know, these two teams have really been battling it out the whole year. That's super awesome.
These are good matchups. Like
6.9.
The 2CP OG matchup and the EVO RQ matchup are going to be good games.
Yeah, I think that should be a lot of fun.
I still think we could see some big plays out of the 2D or the two elite bouncer tier teams.
Yeah,
I think that they've got a lot to prove coming in here, and I think, you know, considering we've seen maps go their way, considering we've seen very close team fights, I think if they hit their stride in finals, it'll be really.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think from 7 till 2-3, a lot could happen. Really anything could happen there. So that leaves us with the Beastie tier. Thoughts on Beastie
Beastie
Boys?
tier.
Let me mold on them for a little bit. That Hanamura game
Please.
gave
I wanna
me
hear it.
nightmares.
Night-
Right, that game was so tragic
hated
to
that
watch.
game.
Just because they didn't even try. That's what it felt like. The first two games they tried, Severin was on Hog and he was flanking. That's something we'll have to talk about as well. And doing his thing. But they just look like, I mean, it's kind of the philosophy of the team, or at least it was when they were Snorlax. Kinda
Yeah.
Just have a meme time, have a fun time, and show up and play your game and see what happens. And I'm kind of hoping that they come into finals with the philosophy of being like, we're going to beat 80k. We want to try and beat 80k. Because they have the personnel to do it, with a few exceptions.
They have the.
They have the people.
They have the people, definitely. I don't think they have the commitment to do it.
Oh no, that's not.
yeah,
That's the
that's
thing
an
that
issue.
upsets me though, is that they
I meant
have
they
the
had the
people.
skill.
They have the people and they have the meta. If you're looking at Rodog, it's Severin. If you're looking at Widow, it's not No Nuts.
Oh my lord.
You know?
I pay money to see Severin like, hook him. Oh my lord.
Yeah.
I pay
You know?
big money to see him on Roadhog. Big time.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh.
But
And I'd love to see, like, I think, you know, maybe we see them come in with a different mentality. They are a new org. This is Visions' first
Yeah.
kind of appearance with this org in an actual tournament, so maybe they come in a lot more drilled.
I hope so. I freaking hope
I mean,
so.
like
'cause I
like
think
Brett said, now that Visions' name is on the line with everything, you know, it's
Yeah.
with the whole New York. It's definitely it's something to hold value
Like-
to.
Do you guys want to know an interesting fact about Visions? This is gonna
What?
presenting it like it's a flame, but it's a real fact.
Tell us.
He's the only player to ever be in every finals.
oh wow, that's pretty
That's
good.
crazy, actually.
Because he
That's
was
gigantic.
on Eden that one.
Yes.
He was on Eden the next. No, he was on WRG the next year.
WG.
Boost
He
you.
was in
Yeah.
Goliath the next year. That's all
Didn't-
3 finals he played.
And so
Oh.
Beastie Boys is his chance to make it 4-4.
And it's looking pretty good if they play the
Yeah.
video game properly.
If,
Look,
yeah,
they're just such a strong team. It's an insanely strong team. There's just so much skill there. It's frustrating how good this team is and then
It is
what they choose to
so
play.
Frustrating.
Yeah.
I just want them to win on merit. If they're gonna play well and show
Yeah.
up and be like, we're gonna dominate you guys because we're better and we're drilled and we know what we're doing, then that's what we want to see. And then
Yeah.
we can really build that story of them working their way up towards 80k and
Yeah,
seeing
okay, but that,
what does a scary drilled Beastie Boys actually do against the team that's by far the best in the country.
okay, look, but we were like, oh, what if Beastie Boys were scary drilled? But 80k is scary drilled. Let's bring the other team into this comparison.
Yeah.
Like 80k is polished to a mirror shine.
But that's why we have them in a separate tier.
Warren paid for one of those like car polishes that
The rotary
Yeah.
buffers, yeah,
Rotary buffed them for the last 9 months, and they're just sparkling.
they are.
That's a horrible
Every
mental
role
image.
is
That is
better
a
than
horrible
average.
mental image.
Every
think I might
every
have-
player in every role is better than every other player in that role for 80k.
Ooh.
Yes, I agree.
Ooh, that's a spicy comment.
That's a spicy
That's a
comment, big
spicy
man. I'm
comment.
not gonna lie to you.
Talk to me, Mira.
Severin is better.
Justify.
Severin's
100
better. Thanks.
Severin,
That's-
I think
thank
Severin
you,
is the best off
thank
tank in the
you.
country. I
100%.
think Fluffy and Tox are the best supports in the country.
Okay, we can have a conversation about
I-
That's listen, Blur. You can take yourself out. We can have a different conversation. That's all the time. But compared to these two, like like Visions, my issue actually I think with ATK is mainly with Dizzy and with Luke. I think I have big issues.
Honestly, I
What's
don't
your-
think Sponge is up there either. To be honest, I think if I had control of this roster, I would drop Dizzy for Severin and Sponge, and then move in Luke, like a Luke on.
deep.
Yeah. Why is Sponge?
I still don't even agree with that. I don't even think you're right.
Let's
no,
hear it. Let's hear it.
No, I think Luke is sort of like that wild stallion out in the field, there by him. So, and I think playing in this, and when it comes to the sort of crackdown of pressure, we saw it in the last finals, last year. There's a big mental crack, and when it hits hard, and it hits home.
That is true.
And someone like Luke, and I think even playing with him just for the couple weeks, when he was doing the roster bunny hop and org bunny hop from team to team.
Oh my goodness,
like-
that's right. I just remembered.
Mans was like, care or don't care if Mans was on the stream and he was watching it, but like
it's
he
good.
boomed like everything, and like every fight, if fights were lost, there was big mental booms. There was like, real heated arguments, and like it was just revolving around like the whole play around me and we win, and if we don't win, then it's not on me still, sort of thing. And I think when it comes to finals, if ATA doesn't have the mental down, I think there can be a big exploit from Beastie Boys, and I think they can really,
I think that
it
requires so much of Beastie Boys showing up.
Look, you're asking like 80k to falter and Beastie Boys to play well for there to be a chance.
Not to play well, to play as well as their roster suggests they
Yeah,
can,
like they're
Yeah.
they're
which
out
they
there.
haven't been showing at all up
Yeah.
until now.
Yeah.
And I'm hopeful. I'm really hopeful. Visions just like buckled everyone in and strapped them in front of their BCs and said, like, listen, the price difference between first and second is a bunch. Play the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, like, again, having boot camped with them last year with GG, like, when those guys get driven, they get driven. They play, they grind, they're insane.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can persuade this roster to drive, though. That's the thing. Everyone is looking international and playing their OD teams, and they don't
Yeah.
have cohesion. Where ATK, like, didn't they just play in like a international championship?
Zotac, yeah, they did really
Were
well. They
up
came fifth.
really well against contenders teams as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Tier-
competition was
tier
won by
three.
Avoided, and Avoided are insane.
Oh geez, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
A mix of open div and contenders. Yeah. So.
I don't think there's. I will buy anyone here, but only one of you. 10-piece chicken nuggets if ATK lose a map to Beastie.
Lose
a
a map to
map.
Beastie Boys.
Yeah.
I would not take that bet.
consider your bank accounts, boys.
I would do it, but I'm not there, so
You are
Gotta do
disqualified.
it.
Yeah.
So I think it comes down to like Blur or Peach to take me up on this.
I'm not taking up any
I'm not taking up anything either.
any
How's
bets.
wrong with y'all? This is the
I have
opportunity
too,
of
I have
my
too poor
lifetime.
to take up bets. I
Oh
do
my
not want
God.
to be in debt to defect. I feel like we'll just end poorly. I don't want to have broken legs.
I think you'd really have to be comfortable with the state of your disposable income to bet against 80k.
Yeah, I
this
think
situation.
that ATK, from what we've seen, probably have this down. I think Beastie Boys, if we'd seen them drilling before this, we would be able to say with confidence, okay, this is a team that could take them on. But they haven't shown that, and as much as I want them to, because I think they're mechanically probably the most overpowering team in the country.
For sure.
Like, they're ridiculous. There's just
Yeah.
so much talent on that team,
Yes,
and
but
yeah.
they're not polished and coordinated the way ATK is. And ATK
yeah,
is-
and ATK
ATK
practice
is
like
to
6 months a week.
logical extent.
Yeah. The
The-
amount that they put in.
Conclusion of. I don't think you can get.
Are they
more.
still doing that?
Yes.
Yeah.
As far as I
Yeah.
understand.
Because they had that whole
That's
coaching
nuts,
shuffle,
dude.
which seemed to
Yeah.
revolve around.
Nuts. Still,
They're still falling.
I don't think it was about practice days. I think it was about more practice style.
more practice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, they are, for me, ATK is completely ironclad. I don't see the team
Next
dropping.
week, Sunday, Ginger Boogie, whatever. Maybe.
Oh, is that the grand finals? Yes.
Yeah.
Next week, Sunday, 6 p.m. I think ATK for me are totally ironclad, unbeatable. I'd go as
They're
far as to
like
say
we said,
unbeatable.
they're in a tier of their own. They are
Yeah.
miles ahead above everybody else.
I might even
Like,
put an empty
yes.
tier between them and.
No,
Yeah.
whoa.
They-
Down.
There's a gap there for
we-
another team to slot in.
Like we've only seen them lose one map against the strongest that 2CP has ever been, right?
Yes.
And that was at the very beginning of the year.
That was calibration, I think.
No,
was-
this
that was- no,
RMG,
it was- it was- Exactly.
RMG
It was-
last game of the group.
RMG, that's a long
yes,
time.
like it was an extremely long time ago, and so far, like most teams don't even manage to win team fights, let alone maps against.
Yes. You have teams like, TSG, like, top 5 teams, like sometimes OG or even 2CP when they were not doing well, like coming in and not winning a single fight against them. Like real contenders for the toppest teams that we have not taking fights at all.
And I think
Yep.
when we watched Beastie Boys play, or Snorlax as they were known at the time, they were playing down to Snorlax. And I think they were comfortably in control. They could have gone most of that game without losing team fights. And it's only things like Severance prowess and the Roadhog that can just win you a team fight. Gets the right hook in, kills the right person, and even ATK can win a team fight from that point.
When ATK is slacking and Beastie Boys are like clutching and cracked out, they can win a fight, but that's it.
They can win some team fights, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
That's a big if. It is, man.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of ifs, and I think with the meta, I think Blur has like the strongest point is just
Yeah.
like the heroes and like the individual sort of skills that they have.
How
in
do we
terms of what
rate
they're gonna play.
ATK's main tanks in this meta, though?
Ooh,
Nuts.
this is what I
Absolutely
wanted to-
nuts. They just played in this meta. They just took out took a good match against the Voided in this meta.
True.
Like they're drilled in this meta. They're ready to go. Bandit just
And if you've read Twitter of any time, Avoided to be getting rolled and smoked by literally every other of the EU team. So I mean,
I don't think I don't think BC Boys is in the same solar system as Avoided.
No, it's yeah.
of course they're not in the same solar system.
Controversial
They're not even in the same
take.
galaxy. No,
Yeah,
for sure, but
But I think if you're stacking up bandits and
Yeah.
Dizzy, I
And
mean
Dizzy.
we like Severin already beat Dizzy once on the Roadhog.
exactly.
Yeah,
You know?
but I think Bandit's the best main tank in the country right
I
now.
But
think
there's
I
6
think that's
players on
fair.
that team.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fair, but it's fair. But then what is okay? So then you put him up, and then what's he gonna play if Dizzy keeps getting farmed on Roto? What's the deal?
Ball.
What's he gonna
Solo
do?
carry ball.
It's
Slam-
not gonna work. It's not gonna work.
That's gonna lean too hard on
that, dog.
It's going to lean too hard on their DPS being able to perform in that
Exactly.
situation. And, again, we expect that 20 and Sponge should be able to perform at that level because they have performed at that level for so long. But, you're hedging that against Not and Mito, and those are really strong players.
I don't think Not can compete against 20 really. Like the guy's really good, but 20's just
I agree. I think,
I think
20.
Mito can pull a stunt against ATK with like.
I think
I feel like Mito is a pretty.
I
Decent.
think peak Mito can compete against Sponge. I don't know what kind of Mito was.
Sponge.
No.
I think
You've got
Mito blows
controversial
Sponge out of
view-
the-
opinions
out of
on
the-
He
Sponge.
blows him right out of the water, fam.
Oh, I
Butt
see.
naked,
Okay.
standing
I have
on the beach
controversial
alone.
Again,
opinions about Sponge.
did we miss 2019 final?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. The man is cracked. You can't say that he's matching up to Sponge when Sponge plays mediocre at best at most times.
Are you guys considering that Mito's been playing main tank for the last year?
Well, he played main tank for a couple of months before GG disbanded, and then he went back
Yeah.
to playing DPS for Snorlax.
Didn't he play main tank for Snorlax until
He's
this,
bits and pieces of main
last
tank,
year?
but mostly DPS.
I was under the impression he was
Many
playing a
DPS.
full main tank. the whole
I mean,
time.
we can have,
Who
we can have a look at the
Who
roster.
knows what
I will
he's doing.
I will never forget Mito running through main on Hanamura in the middle of the sightlines as Torbjorn against ATK.
So we can have a look at the roster.
Sounds
right?
vaguely
We see
familiar.
Visions
Yeah.
and Beepo, which is Severin, on the tank duo. So like this is like their starting main. Their
No,
starting-
bruh, that's the other
Then-
thing that infuriates
Yeah,
me
that's
about
the
Beastie
biggest.
Boys. Is
Then-
that they
That's a
don't
big
use their
if,
proper
yeah.
names and it drives me nuts.
Yeah, well, I mean, so Severin's account was renamed to Beepo. He doesn't have another, like, he's got another Smurf account, I think,
That's
or like
cool.
another alt account. But like his
Yeah.
main account is now Beepo. He doesn't have a Severin account.
Just change your name to Severin again.
Yeah, just make it
Severin.
Severin.
Trolling us.
Beepo forever. and stop
Build the
talking.
brand around the name.
Then, if we
Beepo.
have a look at their DPS lineup, we see Notno, Not, and Mito. So we know Mito is going to be playing DPS for the most part. And then their support lineup is I'm Going Hamzo and Aviator. With their subs being Note and Condi.
The support lineup is I'm Going Hamza and Aviator.
Aviator.
Yes.
Wait. Compare that to like a Luke. And
Are you sure, Miru, that there's not a whole tier between these two teams?
I mean, we have seen also scrims with ending up with Condi on flex support there.
I mean, if you put Condi in that squad, then there's a that's a whole other
Connie's
story.
cracked too, so like, you know.
This lazy guy is also really good from ATK. I don't know. I rate lazy. Probably
National,
the
bruv.
best Lucio in the country.
Not
Probably-
Zede.
Well, he's not in the
He's not
country.
Zede. He's not in the
Not
country.
Zede, so I don't
Look,
even
I know
care.
he isn't,
Like,
but
In the ZA team, yeah.
he's in the team. He's in our roster now. In this tournament, is he the best Lucio? Probably, maybe.
I don't know what a good Lucio looks like, to be honest.
But also, we're probably
Boy
looking at
Wallace.
more of a Mercy in this instead of a Lucio.
True, actually.
Yeah.
So if your main support's a Lucio player and isn't really strong in the Mercy, then it's a bit
Like
tough.
a look on Mercy with that Guardian Angel.
I think that really plays into Luke's strengths. Put him on Mercy.
Yeah, projectile
That's a
DPS. That pistol, dude.
Yeah, that also does surprising
That
amount of
cat,
damage.
that's like Lizzie Gladiator, bro. In that case.
But we've seen Lazy play quite a bit of Mercy, and he looks totally fine.
Yeah.
But he does. We have watched him.
I've watched them on
I
stream.
mean, we're also saying that where we haven't really seen ATK be challenged.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
We have to see them pretty much like crank up the pressure on ATK for Lazy's Mercy to be pressured to see if he's at that level.
Yeah, but I have concerns about that Beastie Boy support line.
Yeah, it's
Personally, if I put them up against Luke and Lazy, I'm like,
yeah.
Also, chat's raising a good point about Lucio talking about Slade.
Slade.
Like, Slade's
Oh,
Lucio
all
is pretty
hails-
insane.
Yeah, hail Slade.
but is he playing? Because they've got
I think he is
They've got
starting. Miracle.
Slade,
Wallace is
Tox, and
sub.
Wallace.
Wallace is on
sub.
the bench, yeah.
Why
so
are they
that's
sucking
fine.
up all these supports, dude? They got Squishy and Slade and Wallace and Tox.
I said they're collecting them like Infinity Stones. The more they gather, the more powerful they become.
They're making sure they're stocked up when ATK take their DPS players.
Listen, can we just give Beastie Boys the two supports that are not playing for it?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, it depends. If I was as good as Squishy or Wallace, I wouldn't go to the Beastie Boys
No.
in the
Okay,
state they are now.
So we are in a meta where Widowmaker is decent because there's no barriers. The Widowmaker on ATK is 20, and the supports that need to hide are Aviator and I'm Going Hamza.
I back Hamzo to do it. I'm not I'm not convinced about Aviator on support,
Yeah,
considering the most
support.
we've seen of him was like the best performance we saw from Aviator were on Junkrat.
I was gonna say on Junkrat. Right? Oh my god, that is concerning. That is seriously concerning for me.
But I do rate Hamza. I think he's a really decent player. He's a really good flex player as well. So
Was he-
I think
It might be decent, but we're talking about 20, right? He's out there punishing 4.5k main supports for being
I
out of
mean-
position.
yeah, but I mean we're not saying that that Hamza has to kill him. He just needs to know to stand behind the wall.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's also the skill I'm rating. Like I think 20's wall angling, I guess, is better. I don't know.
I don't know. There's no serious conversation about comparing
Look,
that
let's,
to.
let's wrap this.
80K.
There's a tier between them. I
Yeah.
don't think any of us disagree.
Well, no, I don't think there's a. I think they're in separate tiers. I don't think there's an extra tier between.
Oh
them.
yeah,
That
no.
was-
They're just in separate
That's-
tiers. I don't think
Yeah,
that extra tier. It's not
I
that
would
bad.
slot an empty space into the tiers between them.
Oh, exactly.
I think 80K is cracked. Too cracked for anybody. I have no faith in Beastie Boys to show up prepped and ready to go.
Also,
I hope I'm wrong. I seriously hope I'm super
really
duper
I
wrong.
also hope you're wrong. I really want to see
really
Beastie
do.
Boys perform.
I just want to see
I
80K
want to.
lose a game. Well, but
Yeah, just give it once. Just take an L once in your life. You know,
Just
you
drop
know,
a map
relax,
to
dog. Just
somebody
chill out.
lame, and then
No, just like forfeit one of your group games.
yeah,
Oh, bro, just
I
Just
thought-
put one of the group
God
games.
damn.
nobody wants that. Just drop a map to Evo or something, and then reset the streak count. You
make
can-
their
okay.
day. Just go use Evo. Just absolutely make their day.
Yeah, you know,
Win the
80K
team
can,
fight,
can
then
be
jump off the map.
kingmakers.
Wouldn't
Imagine
that-
you're mental after you
Team
beat 80K. I mean, take a map of
Bandit Scan
80K.
in your-
Look, that was the Thunderclap mental last year after we beat Eden one time. So I don't
Hey,
know.
Yeah.
true.
That
Almost,
was-
almost twice.
yeah, I still have that
Almost twice.
video somewhere.
You better.
Do what Layden did to Risen.
Yeah, Field. They have no subs though. They literally
They have
can't.
no
They have no subs.
80K has no
They can
subs.
field empty spaces and maybe still beat Evo.
That's
no offense
rude.
to
That's
Evo.
not. That's not.
Now you're being
That's not
toxic,
nice.
bro. We're talking about a 5v6 right now. Come on.
Who was it? I think it was OG, like old OG, faced Eden 5v6 and lost. Because Eden was just that good at the time. But
Who disconnected for AFK in one of OG's games last year?
The ninja
the
this
ninja, yeah.
To be fair, we were playing against one of the Jinxie gaming teams. That was like,
Oh,
yeah.
Mutiny.
Yeah.
I remember that was the
yeah.
whole thing.
oh my god.
Oh my lord, bro. The man was so AFK. It was actually
Mutiny
the
or
biggest stroke
whatever.
ever.
yeah, mutiny or something. But we asked, like, we were in the comms and he was telling us, like, guys, I'm getting the timer. What should I do? It was on Hanamura and we were camping them on the spawn and he was just sitting on point. He was like, come forward and shoot someone. And he couldn't. He couldn't make it in time because Zen is slow.
That is so
Yeah.
sad and funny.
Shame.
Anyways, I think
Anyway.
we,
Damage.
let's give our power ranking a once over here. And see if there's anything that now sticks out to us, like what the
Do
hell are
we
doing
pull
here?
altruism in to read them out quickly? Because he's got
Yeah.
the
Where
voice.
is he?
Oh, is he here? Give us the
I think it's
voice.
the voice.
voice.
Exactly.
The voice AU.
Is he here?
No, I don't think. Yeah.
So what the hell was
feels bad,
that?
man.
It's just, I
I'm
don't
saying-
know. Should we put
I'm saying that
altruism
we-
in? Okay, I'll
Pull him in to
phone
do
it,
the
I guess.
voice.
Yeah. We'll do a recap video.
So, yes, exactly, do that. From the top here, just giving it a once over, I don't see any reason to change anything. Like you've added random teams at the bottom that don't exist anymore.
AFK,
So
they the
in
AFKs.
last place. Wait, where's Peach? He just like randomly disappears.
Peach.
Where's that producer?
Need him
Peach.
to scroll down on screen.
Scroll down.
Scroll down.
This is why you can't trust producers, everyone. For everyone watching, this is why I regularly insult Peach on stream because we need something done and then he's just not here.
He's gone.
Look, producers are the worst people, and I know that's because I'm a producer.
Exactly. And
Oh, here he
speaking
Oh
of
hey
which,
Peach,
welcome.
we were just
talking
talking about you.
Were you? I'm really appreciative of that. They
Okay,
have
Peach,
been
We were just
some-
saying
Scroll-
how wonderful of a producer you are and how much we appreciate you.
Scroll down so I
on
can
the
run
ball.
through the
Sorry.
power
On the money, Peach.
And
Oh, we're scrolling down. Okay.
Scroll
Sorry.
down to the
Yes,
bottom,
wait, we're
right.
scrolling
So,
down.
There we
in
go.
8th place at the
Oh my
bottom of the
God.
standings is the Vibe Tribe, a team that does not exist, officially speaking. In 8th place, slightly above that, is Bale Furions, a team that I'm convinced doesn't exist because they've been...
They scrimmed. I've seen scrims.
Oh my god, I cannot believe that for a second. In 8th place, slightly above Bale Furions and Vibe Tribe, it's Team Solo.
Who have
A
also
team that
seen
doesn't
scrim.
exist. I don't believe you.
tell
In
you.
17th place, a team that definitely 100% doesn't exist is Team Valiance. Right, and
For
that's
now.
the
They said they don't exist for
AFK
now.
they don't
Okay, fair.
exist. But they don't exist. Right now, they don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all that matters.
That's in the AFK arena tier. Then we have real teams from here on out, right? I mean, teams that we know exist.
The teams
But
that will be
Re-Ace
playing this
Legion.
weekend.
Yes. Reace Legion, 16th place in the same tier as Overtime. That's the nothing to lose tier. the G tier, as it's called here. We had a lot of question marks about those two teams, but I think at the end we all pretty much agreed that we think Overtime should be able to overcome Rias Legion in that matchup. Looking at the Challenger Hardstuck tier at the bottom of that, we have Kitsune, then Overwatch Cubs, ADG Risen, and IVG Calypso. I think a lot of these teams could take maps and matches off each other. We wouldn't be surprised to see anything shady happen here, in the sense that any of these teams could beat each other. Then looking up further, thank you. Lane in Overwatch, this is the actual Fall Guys seesaw, as in the gatekeepers, not the gatekeepers,
Not the
just below the
gatekeepers.
gate. The guys being gate kept out of Elite Division.
Gate captors.
It's Lane in Overwatch at the bottom of that in 10th, Overclock
The 1
Esports
foot
in
in.
9th.
The 1 foot in, if you want to call it something else.
Yes,
No,
Vanguard.
actual Fall Guys seesaw is what it's called.
No, that's much bigger. That's much
It's
better.
so catchy and it rolls off the tongue so nicely, you know. Lane in Overwatch in 10th, Overclock Esports in 9th, and Vanguard in 8th. A lot of conversation was had there. I think at the end all agreed Lane slots in at the bottom of that. Overclock and Vanguard, though, big question marks there. Excited to see how that match plays out. Then we've got the next tier, the D tier, Elite Bouncers, aka the gatekeepers of the Elite Division, aka Rage Code Odyssey and Friend. And that in 6.9th position, it's Odyssey, who we think will just do slightly better than Evo, but it depends what Evo shows up and how they adapt to the meta. That could be really interesting to see how that plays out. In C tier, aka the piggyback, we've got TSG Team Mist Gaming, the team with the best name, the catchiest name in the whole country. In 5th place, XVG2CP, 6 letters with a lot of meaning behind them in 4th place, and OG Kansugi in 3rd. Again, a lot of conversation was had between XVG and 2CP, XVG, 2CP, and OG specifically. But we decided that consistency and how they will respond to the new meta, at least we were outvoted. Mir and I are still behind 2CP, but the rest of them decided OG was the better call there. Then in the Beastie tier, aka the B tier, we've got Beastie Boys, rather uncreatively. Definitely a cut above the teams below them, but definitely a cut below the top team. And those are the champions elect ATK.
Are you changing
numero
my tier
uno.
names?
No, no.
Numero uno, ATK, Ironclad, Untouchable. Hopefully Beastie Boys show up and they can look. In my head, there's a B tier and then there's an A.5 tier and then there's
Well, I
an
mean,
A tier,
technically,
which
there's
has
an A
ATK.
tier and then there should be an S tier.
Absolutely, that is very true. So there's an A tier between B tier and S tier, and in S tier is definitely ATK. I think we all agreed pretty much. If anyone beats ATK, it'll be the biggest upset in South African esports. I don't know anything about other esports in South Africa, but I can't think of a situation where ATK, a team is as favored as ATK is. Agree?
Oh,
Disagree?
100%.
Agreed.
I think I agree.
I think
on that,
we're
yeah.
all happy. Yeah.
So those are our power rankings, ladies and gentlemen. We could do predictions for the groups, but I think how long have we been? An hour and a half now.
I think an hour and a half is a good
Yeah,
is a good
I
length.
think that's a
Yeah.
pretty good length.
Throw the quitters and Sun and I will go till midnight.
Yeah, exactly. we'll
Yeah.
rank every role, each individual
Every
player
player.
for every role.
Every hero.
But thanks so much for joining us, guys. I had a really good time. I think the boys had a really good time as well. It was a lot of fun. If we flamed you too hard, shit happens, to be honest. And prove us wrong by playing better on this weekend and winning games. And you can come to us afterwards and be like, hey, this is where you put us in our power ranking and look at where we ended. And
Do we have one of these on Monday where we just like
We can have
Sorry.
one. We can have one next Friday again, and rank the teams that updated based on what we saw this
That would be
weekend.
cool. We should do that.
Yeah,
Yeah?
I'm
think
happy to do that. So set
sounds
your.
Well, then we
set
can
your
do
alarms.
Tox's recommendation. Then we can do the dream team after final.
Yo, that's not a bad idea.
It's the ATK. That's the dream team. They're called ATK.
I said that they have the best players in every role, and you were all like, "No, that's not true." Now you're all like, "No, it is ATK." So what's the story?
I don't agree. That
I don't
it's
agree.
I don't
Exactly.
agree either.
Okay.
Just because defect is loud doesn't mean we all said it.
Yeah, just assume whenever he talks, everyone agrees with him. Okay. So that is that, ladies and gentlemen. We'll put out a summary video tomorrow morning.
Yeah, it depends how quickly I can edit.
So that's a maybe, I
Chop and
guess.
change.
Keep an eye out. Otherwise, we'll see you tomorrow. All of us are on the broadcast team, so you will get to see our lovely faces, except Peach and Defect, but they will be there in spirit and like literally as well.
Yeah, you'll get to hear us flame them.
And lurking in the
Exactly.
chat, I'm sure as well.
Hopefully, we don't have a reason to and everything goes smoothly, but please tune in tomorrow. It starts at 11:20. We'll start with our pre-show broadcast, and we'll have a pre-match, and then the first match will start at 12. So a lot of build up to that. Hopefully, we'll see you guys there. 2CP versus TSG, a match we spent a lot of time deliberating on in this power rankings. So you have to come and watch it. A lot of fun matches happening tomorrow as well. So please tune in, and for those of you playing, have fun as well, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks so much for joining us.
Alright.
You're clear. Sorry, I need to go sort something out like now.
No, you need to go sort something out.